Hello and welcome back to the Exlu Magazine YouTube platform. As ever, I'm your host Jack, and today we're going to take a very quick look through the recently revealed Medicom Toys Knightfall Batman MAFEX. So as it happens, these things never seem to come in ones, they always come in twos, as also today we did have Ben Reilly Spider-Man, also fully previewed by Medicom Toys, but we'll get to that in another video. For this one though, we're just going to be looking at this Knightfall Batman, or as they've called it as well, the Azrael's Batman, for those who are familiar with the story. So this was the first image we got. This was the first magazine scan-esque image that surfaced earlier in the day here in the UK when I was putting all of our coverage together. And then naturally, you know, generally the same day, Medicom do then come straight out with the full press release of images and information over on their website, which is exactly what happened here today. So from that press release, we have plenty of images to go through, plenty of information to give you. But for those of you who perhaps are not familiar with the arc, I mean, I'll admit, I had to look this up. I'm not too familiar with this arc. It is a 90s Batman arc. So just to kind of give you some context on exactly who this character is and what this is all about, as you can see here, you know, this blonde character, who that actually is. So this is from the 1993 to 1994 Batman arc. As you can see, it's called Knightfall. There was actually three stories published within this arc, and they were Knightfall, Night Quest, and Night's End. So as I say, it was a 12 months comic arc here, which saw Azrael here in the role of Batman. So very different color scheme wise, and again those horns on the shoulder. You know, a very different look for the Dark Knight than perhaps what we are used to in the 90s. You know, lots of color, lots of vibrancy injected into colors throughout that decade. So let's just jump right into the information which Medicom have made available to us. As I say, we do now have more images here, which I will just flick through in the background as I'm going through them. So the release date set for this guy is September 2021. Now, at the moment, yes, there is some kind of back and forth, some consternation with Medicom and their release schedule. We are still waiting on the Into the Spider-Verse line, both Miles and Peter B. Parker as well. People do keep asking us, have we got any updates on their release windows? All we can go off of at the moment is what is listed on the product pages. And I know when I looked earlier for Peter B. Parker, it was still set for December of this year. So we're just going to have to wait and see if that happens. Normally, we get some early in-hand images from those who are fortunate enough over in the East, over in Japan and China, who get their hands on them as they are releasing. So that'll be our first indicator if that is the case. So as I say, September 2021 for this guy. Some people are speculating maybe they'll get pushed back. Who knows? You know, if we have another year like what we've had this year, then you know it really is hard to speculate. A list price here of 8,800 yen, which roughly converts to $88. Now, of course, you know, you have to take into account the different price points for those who are importing to the US, and obviously here in the UK. But it is around $88 or £85, as they say, if you are here in the UK. So I just flicked through some of these images again in the background just to give you a bit of a flavour of what is on the cards. Again, Medicom really going for that cape as one of their differentiating factors when comparing some of the other lines, particularly now McFarlane, who are stepping up production on their DC Multiverse line. Many figures coming from those guys. But again, this cape and the ability to have it wide and to have it splayed out is something which is a huge bonus when it comes to Medicom Toys. I myself have the Hush Batman. No, I don't. I have the Dark Knight Returns Batman. It's been a long day. The Dark Knight Returns Batman. And again, I just say the standout feature on that guy really is that cape. It really does set him in a league of its own, particularly when you do compare it to some of the other lines, whether it be DC Direct or, as I say, McFarlane Toys. So yes, as I say, a cloth cape here, and as you can see on this image, you do get both the masked portrait here and the unmasked portrait again, which you can switch out at your discretion. Obviously, there's interchangeable hands. I mean, here you go. Here's another prime example of that cape and how you can really make it billow, and you can really add a lot of character and nuance to, you know, how you display your characters through the cape. So also this wrist propelled grapple hook here, which you can see coming out, which seems to be mounted just underneath the wrist. You can't see it too clearly in this original promotional image, but again, hopefully down the line we'll start to see this out on display, hopefully at some of the spring conventions, particularly over in Asia, and that will give us a bit of a better look, I suppose. It always does when we see these prototypes in hand, as opposed to this initial batch of promotional images, as there is some variation. And you know, they always stress that this is just a prototype at this stage. So, I mean, in terms of the basic information, that really is it for this guy. If you are not familiar with him, then I suppose it might be a bit of a bolt out of the blue. It might look a bit of a strange color combination. But then if you tell yourself that this is from the 90s, I think that in itself gives you a lot of indicators as to why he looks the way that he does. I've got to say, I don't know how well you can see this here. Maybe if I enlarge my screen so you can see my cursor. Just here on the upper shins underneath the knee, these little embellishments here, when I first saw them, they remind me so heavily of the white symbiote logo which you have on Venom's chest, or on the black suit Spider-Man. Again, I think they add a lot of character to this guy, especially those horns as well on the shoulders. A lot harsher lines, especially this chest piece which dips all the way down there to the torso. A lot of harder lines on this Azrael Batman. And here again, you can see on the upper shin, just underneath the knee, those little embellishments, and on the wrist as well, which you can see more clearly in this image here on the left-hand side. So, all in all, a big surprise. The question now is, where does this stop? Where do we go from here? Is this now going to be a recurring theme with Medicom, where they continue to seek out some of the more obscure Batman? I'm sure that will be the case. Obviously, we've had a lot of Screen Batman. We've had the Nolanverse variations. We've had the Justice League, the Snyderverse versions. Hopefully, we'll see some Patterson versions as well. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see what 2021 brings us. But definitely, they have a huge back catalogue. I mean, as everybody who is a fan of McFarlane is finding out, there really is no shortage of Batman variations for them to draw from. So that's going to about do it, though, for today's video on this Knightfall Batman, there we go, from Medicom Toys. As I say, coming out September 2021 with a list price of around $88. We will keep you updated on this guy between now and its release date. If we see any more prototypes or any early in-hand looks, we will update you in all the usual places, and of course that is either via @Exclude Magazine across social media, or over on our site excludemagazine.com, and that is where you can find all of these images if you do want to take the time to flick through them at your own leisure, and again, just refresh yourself on some of the information that I put forward in today's video. If you enjoyed today's video though, and you'd like to see more of this from us, please do let us know that down in the comments. Like, share and subscribe to our channel. It means the world to us. It's always a it's always a balancing act between getting coverage up on the feeds and being able to record here on YouTube. I'd love to do more of it, so fingers crossed we can facilitate that in the future. Hopefully later on today we'll have a look at the Spider-Man as well, so do stick around for that. But as ever, I've been Jack. Thank you for stopping by at the Exclude Magazine YouTube platform, and I will see you again very soon. Cheers, guys.